Welcome, everyone. This is Elsie Kerns, your Chaos to Clarity coach. And tonight I have a very special guest, Monica Armstrong, who is an artist and a spiritual director. And she has taken on a whole new special line of artistic work. And this all came about when she lost her very dear poodle, Bijou. And we actually saw that Monica was really, really down after this happened. And the only thing that really turned things around was creating the spirit portrait of Bijou. So I want to turn it over to Monica and let her tell a little more detail about how all this came about and have her show us some of the artwork that she's already done for people. Hi, Monica. Welcome.
Hi, Elsie. Glad to be here. Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Bijou because, he was so special to you. And I remember you saying, you had trouble sleeping, you were waking up at night. He wasn't there beside you. And we were all concerned about you.
Yeah. Well, as an artist, I work alone. And for all kinds of reasons, I live alone. So she was my buddy. She was with me, 24/7. And we were very close for 13 years, day in and day out. And, she was aging, and I knew that I was going to lose her. But I did not know that it was going to shake me to my roots, that her absence was so huge. It was almost like a presence. It was so big. And, after the sort of usual experience of loss of just sort of thinking like, oh, she's in the other room, or did I leave her out in the yard? Where is she? After that passed, I just couldn't get my joy back. As you said, I couldn't sleep. I just, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe in my home anymore. I didn't feel safe taking my long walks. And, it was just sad. And the truth was that when I looked at her photographs, which I didn't have that many, but, pictures of a black dog with black eyes, not that great. And all they did was remind me of what I had lost. So one day I was trying to work and I was just completely distracted and unmotivated. And I decided I would just shut everything down and go watch Netflix. And I happened across this movie that someone had recommended called Coco, which is about a boy in Mexico who crosses over to the land of the dead. And a little street dog who was a little pal of his followed him over. So they go through all kinds of adventures. And if you're at all familiar with the culture of the land of the dead, everything is very brightly colored. And of course, since it was the other side, it was animated and dynamic. And, so of course, being a Disney movie, the boy had challenges and adventures. And there was this point towards the end of the movie where the boy was very threatened by various forces. And this little funky little street dog suddenly sprouts these gigantic wings. He's all these colors, and he comes in and saves the day. And so what he really reveals is that even the most humble creatures, whether it be a boy, a girl, a dog, whatever, we have a hero in our hearts. And I think, that was something that just got me really excited was, well, I'll never see Bijou again, but I could draw her spirit. I could capture her spirit, what she meant to me, and her beauty, her personality, her character, because frankly, all black poodles look exactly alike. They just do. It just depends on their haircut. That's the only difference. So I ran into my studio and I started drawing her, and it was a really interesting experience too, because one of the methods that I use for colored pencil drawing is that I start with black paper and then I draw the whole thing in white. And then I apply the color to the white. So what happens is that when you get to the white stage, here's your creature, your pet, your dog, your cat, whatever. Looks like a spirit. It's very ghostly. And something shifted in me. And it was like the first time that I really truly accepted that she's really gone, her body is gone. But then when I started thinking about her and drawing these little designs in there that, you know, just reminded me of, she was very feminine, she was very pretty, she was a beautiful dog. She was very funny, very energetic. And as I began to draw these little designs on the white that expressed what I knew of her, it was like this flood of great memories came back. And, you know, that big chunk of ice that was living where my heart was started to melt. And all of this warmth and pleasure came back to me. And by the time that I finished it, I felt at peace with her loss as a physical presence, because I felt connected to the thing that lives beyond time, and that's unconditional love. I mean, the things I did for this dog, if you told me beforehand, I would say, no, I would never do that. And the things that she did for me, her patience, her forgiveness, her kindness, her enthusiasm. Every day I was the best person in the world. Every day. Yeah. Every day, I'm sure I did something maybe she didn't like, you know, and she forgave me every day. It was like having a saint in the house sometimes. And I learned so much from her. She gave me so many gifts. And she brought out the best in me. So I got reconnected to that. And afterwards, then I shared that experience with you, Elsie, and with a couple of other people. And as I, you know, began to speak of it and think about this process that I went through, I thought, you know, maybe this would help other people. Because, yes, I had lost pets in the past, but I think I never really dealt with how sad I was, because people would say things like, oh, you're going to get another dog like the day after. You know, this is like if you're, you know, if you're a widow and somebody says, oh, you getting married again? You know, 2 weeks later. It's that kind of thing. So anyway, I you know, just started to think about what are the qualities, what are the characteristics of the experience of having a beloved animal in your life. What are the gifts they give us, and what gifts do we give them? You know, what they bring out in us, you know. And honestly, as a spiritual director, you know, I've been listening to people talk about their deepest longings for over 10 years. And at the end of the day, what's the conversation about? It's all about love. You want more, you want better, you want deeper, you want finer, you want to be the best you can be, you want divine, you want to know where the sacred is. And that's often an unnamed and unspoken bond between other species and humans. It goes beyond the way that we relate with people. We offer them more and they give us more in many cases. So I really ended up thinking of this as just such a precious gift, a gift of unconditional love. I mean, who does that? Humans, of all the humans you know, who has that gift? Very few people. Okay, mom and the infant, yes. By the time they're a teenager, not so unconditional.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's what this is really about. This project is where I meet with someone, and if their dog is or pet is still with them, then I meet the pet too, which is awesome fun. And I have a little process of drawing out certain stories of the owner and of the pet and about the owner and how they interact, and what is it that makes this particular animal totally special and unique. And then I do a little meditation with them, and out of that combination comes 3 colors. And those are the colors that are the primary colors in the design. So, and then, I get an idea, I get inspired, and then I go off and do my magic thing. Would you like to see a couple of the pictures?
Yes, absolutely. I was just going to ask you. Let's see Bijou's picture first, because
Okay.
remember, Monica, this brought so much joy. And we have a little mastermind group, and we were all encouraging Monica to do more portraits because we saw an immediate change in her and the joy that this brought her. Oh, I love it. There's Bijou, and was a beautiful, she was a standard poodle, a beautiful dog. But I love the spirit portrait and all the colors. Yeah.
Thank you.
And how about some of the others, because you had a couple of great testimonials from people.
This is Sheba.
Uh-huh.
She was, she was a very queenly Siamese who was very opinionated. And her owner was really happy to see her on that pink pillow with her big wings. And let's see. This one is Serafina. And she was a very petite little tiger that was very important to a household of 3 generations of women. And they each were attached to her in a particular way. So when she was lost in an accident, Grandma commissioned this to give to her daughter. It was her daughter's pet, and it ended up being a great comfort to them and to the granddaughter, who was, I think she's maybe 7 or 8, and very attached. So they were able to stop talking about her horrible ending and remember the good memory.
Yes. So how about the Petey the parrot? Did you have him?
Petey is a character. Petey used to fly onto his owner's shoulder, Ellis, and dance and sing. Petey is a pretty boy. Petey is a pretty boy. She got such a kick out of it. He wasn't this brightly colored in his. He was a different. I forget the name of the parrot, but he was more grays and whites. But she said he was such a character. She always saw him in color, even though he wasn't a colorful bird. He was a colorful personality.
Yeah.
This one. This is actually just a print of the original. The owner, of course, has the original. And this was done for Alice, who is a widow in her late 80s. And she had pets all her life. And now she's in senior housing, no pets, of course. And when I talked to her about her pets, it was like she came to life. And she'd laugh and, tell me these stories about this dog. This was a Jack Russell. And if you know about Jack Russells, they're nuts. They're maniacs. They run around like crazy. And so she but she apparently had also a very sweet nature. So we went through that process of her telling the stories and kind of reclaiming these memories, because this was a long time ago, but it was her favorite dog. And then I, took her through that process, and she decided she wanted yellow and green and purple. And then she sent me a picture of the dog. It was a very old photograph of a white dog standing in snow. So that was an interesting challenge.
For sure. And I think I remember in one of the videos or below it, she did a beautiful testimonial. She was so happy. It was like having her, her dog back, and especially a lively Jack Russell.
Yeah. And the other thing, it was like a bonus, was that when I also did one of her cats as well, and when she saw them, she said she started to remember her husband playing with the dog and the cat. And her husband originally wasn't a pet lover, but he loved Alice, so he was like, okay, but don't expect me to be with them, But he ended up falling in love with them as well. And she was so happy because she started to get all these memories of her husband who had passed on that she had kind of forgotten. And she said, looking at those pictures just warms my heart. And I was just so happy for her. It was a great bonus.
So, Monica, there is a process, and you mentioned this earlier, that when someone decides to have either a drawing or a portrait done, that you take them through. So would you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought that was very interesting.
Sure. So initially, you get on my calendar, and then we meet online or in person if you're local. And we talk for about a half an hour, and then I have a series of questions that I ask to pull kind of the most telling stories out of you. And one of the things is that when those stories come forward, and then we go into a meditation, one of the amazing things about this is that it helps to lock in those stories in a way that when you're having a bad moment or a bad day, or you're in bed with the flu or whatever, and you need to just go to a place of happiness and comfort, you can much more easily recall those specific memories. They become iconic memories, almost like a visual prayer, that you can just call them forward and rest in them, those moments of joy, and sometimes they're even perfection. They're just perfect little jewels, perfect little gems that you can, hold up to the light and rest in. So we go into the meditation, and then at the end of that meditation, I ask people to I almost don't want to say this because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but to just say the first three colors that come to mind, just right off the top of their head. No thinking about it, just the first three colors. Because that ends up being a very true summation, because all of us, colors are symbolic, but there's several different color systems. And just like dreams, we each have our own sort of symbolic system, colors that really speak to us and really reflect our personality. And so even though they never thought of it that way before, what comes out is the truth. And so they'll say three colors, and then that's the primary colors that I'll use almost exclusively in developing the portrait. And then from those stories, I get a sense of, is this like a peaceful, sweet, curled up little bunny rabbit of a pet? Or is this a jumping, running, carrying on, play with me, play with me, play with me kind of dog? Or, whatever the personality. Or like Petey, Goofy Petey the pretty boy, dancing and singing. That tells me, how to develop the design. And so really what I do is in the interview process and the meditation, and then actually in the design, I really call on some skills that I have as a spiritual mentor to understand certain things that are not always articulated. I can read between the lines kind of thing. And then, of course, with my, skills around drawing and painting, that actually determines somewhat how it turns out, because the colored pencil drawings are smaller, but much more detailed. And the paintings are a little bigger and a little bit looser and, have more background and more of a setting, which, is sometimes, important to them too. So if you have this guy over here, this is Rascal Rex.
Huh.
And he was an outdoor dog. He wanted to be outdoors, and I don't know if you can see his favorite toy, the ball. Throw him the ball, and he was happiest out running around in the fields. So I don't know if you can tell here, like the design and the patterns are very springy and edgy and energetic. Whereas on Sheba, our queen over here, she didn't want anybody touching her fur. She just was on her pillow. She was there to be admired and adored, and that was it. So that was reflective of her personality. So it's great. I mean, I love doing these. And I often find that, sometimes people are in active grief, and I have, I have a certain meditation for people who have that kind of grief. And at the end of the project, when I give them the artwork, if they choose, they can also have a kind of a celebration of life ritual that I've put together to help them release. Oftentimes people have anger, like maybe they're mad at the vet, or they're mad at somebody who hurt their animal, or they're mad at themselves because they don't feel like they did enough. They might feel guilty and, certainly sadness. And sometimes that just lingers. So I have an option that people can have an hour-long session at the end when they receive their portrait, that I take them through that kind of, let's collect up all that junk and put it to rest, and then let's connect it to where you are now and remember all the things you did do that were wonderful and beautiful, and all the time. Would your dear friend forgive you? I think so. And sort of bring those two pieces together so that you can move forward and just not be stuck.
So Monica, I just want to take a moment. We have a great group on the broadcast here, Colleen, and I'm just going to scroll down. Karen is here, Karen Bianco, Suzanne Dyer, hi, and Marilyn, Charlotte, and Rose. I'm glad you all joined us. And any comments you have, you put them down there, and on the just above our Facebook Live is an information not only on a video that Monica did, but also on how you can learn a little bit more about getting one of these special pet portraits for yourself or a loved one that might have lost their favorite pet. And Monica, I know that this is as an artist, this is a special direction you've taken, because you've been doing art for 4 decades. I know you've won national awards, and you've done all kinds of artwork, but when I hear you talk about this, it's just, your passion just comes right out of your heart without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not something that came from my head. This came out of my own grief of losing Bijou, and the coming together of really a lifetime of skills. And then feeling like, wow, if I felt this way, there must be lots of people out there who are suffering. And it is truly suffering. And there's very few places to take that kind of suffering because, I mean, already people are not that crazy about dealing with you when you lose a person. But when you lose a pet, let's not go there. At least that was the response I got from people. So I wanted to, I feel very strongly about wanting to share this and reach out to people and help them just reclaim those wonderful memories and reclaim the feeling of being loved. Because, that doesn't die. It doesn't. I really believe that. It's a divine quality, and divinity doesn't die.
Well, you're right about one thing. In the very end, all that's left is love. And as you said, pets give us that unconditional love, which we don't get in almost any other way in the human form. So that is very special. And I think that's what makes the pets so dear to our hearts.
Yep, I call it the divine spark. They spark it in us and they accept it when, we receive it and then we give it back, and, it sparks all kinds of good things.
Mm-hmm. So, Monica, your website is, of course, monicaarmstrong.com.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to know more about this, you can also get in touch with Monica and talk to her about it. Right. And I love the fact that you actually have that consultation with the person that wants the portrait, so you can really get the flavor, the personality of the pet. And the meditation, the special meditation together. So it's like all of your spiritual direction work has combined with this special project just with pets in the perfect combination.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. If you Google spirit portraits, it'll also take you to my website, to that page, but also I'm pretty sure it'll bring up I have a Vimeo site that has about 15 videos on it. And most of them are videos of either slideshows of the progress of the artwork, and some of them are time-lapse videos while I'm doing the artwork, which I just learned how to do a few weeks ago. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah, I saw those, and I love the one where that time lapse, it went right through. We could see from the beginning to the end. And I did put up one of your videos on Facebook here so they can look at that.
Oh, great.
Some of the things that you've done. So this is just launched, right?
That's right. That's right. I just opened my calendar to the general public, so to speak, yesterday. I have done all the work I've done so far has been by referral. But I wanted to, really just open this up and do it for as many people as I can. I mean, I don't have, a million openings on my calendar because they take time. Right. But I just would be thrilled to do this, whether your pet is still with you, which is great, or if they've passed, which I can help you with that. And I also make really great gifts. Like I said, Janice did this as a gift, a Mother's Day gift for her daughter, and it ended up being a blessing to the little girl in the house as well. So it's a wonderful thing. And so if you contact me and you have a special event coming up, an anniversary, or birthday, even Christmas, it's not that far away, just let me know and we'll work it out.
Yes, and I just want to remind people that this takes time for you to complete. So you have a limited number, that you can work on. So if you're interested, look at how to get in touch with Monica. Look at how you can order your personal pet portrait, and don't wait, because this is going to go fast.
That's right.
Monica, thanks for joining us. And how about anything else you would like to leave us with?
Well, I would just say that, any of you who had contact with animals and it's been a good experience, just let yourself savor that. just remember that. Hold them. That's like they're like little jewels in a treasure box. And when you're having a bad day, pull them out and look at them and enjoy them.
So this is Elsie Kerns, and I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And this will be up for a while. I'm also going to make it into a YouTube and pass it around so that Monica can show others, if they didn't have a chance, to be on our Vlog TV broadcast tonight. And of course, I'm your Chaos to Clarity coach. So if you'd like a little coaching or a little energy medicine, I would love to share that with you.
That'd be great.
So good night, everyone. Monica, thanks so much.
That link is only good for 1 week, by the way.
Okay.
And then the calendar shuts down. Yep.
All right, it's open now. So I put the link up there. Click on it. You can get the details. And then Monica would welcome a phone call if you have any questions. Yeah, great.
Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you for helping me be well.
You
And
too.
you have.
Okay, everybody, have a good night. It's, by the way, it's pouring rain, lightning, and I was so concerned that we might have a computer glitch, but we got through without it. Thank heavens. Ramona, thank you for your comments and joining in. And everyone, thanks again for being with us. Good night.
Thanks, Elsie. Good night, everybody.